small dog raced through the streets with a severed human finger in its mouth. When it finally spotted a police car, it leaped onto the hood, startling the officer inside. Once the cop saw the finger, he followed the dog to a residential property. In the backyard stood a massive dog cage containing over a dozen dogs and a filthy young boy. The finger belonged to him. Judging by his appearance, he'd been caged there for years. The homeowner and his older son were quickly arrested. As the investigation unfolded, the twisted reality of this family came to light. The father was a violent man who made his living from dogfighting. He kept numerous stray dogs in the yard, deliberately starving them to maintain their killing instinct. But his younger son had a gentle heart and couldn't bear to see the dogs go hungry, so he would secretly feed them. When the older brother discovered this, he immediately told their father. At the dinner table, the father beat Jack savagely, but the beating wasn't enough. He dragged the boy outside and threw him into the dog cage. Their mother watched helplessly as her son was forced to live like an animal, eating dog food, sleeping on the ground, wearing only thin clothes even in winter. One day, his mother appeared unexpectedly. She tossed him several cans of food and told him to hide them well. She was pregnant and had to escape to protect her unborn child from this life. The older brother blamed Jack for driving their mother away and hung a banner over his cage, something about repenting in God's name. But from Jack's angle, the obscured and inverted letters spelled out Dog Man. He smiled, as if he'd found his purpose. Years passed. One spring, a litter of puppies was born in the cage, and once again his brother saw them.
I see them!
Jack begged him to keep it secret, but his twisted brother wouldn't listen. Soon their father arrived with a gun. The caged boy decided to stand up for the dogs. He roared at the man who called himself his father, and all the dogs joined in, barking furiously. In his rage, the father pulled the trigger without thinking. Jack collapsed. Shocked by what he'd done, the father panicked. The older son stopped him from entering the cage, telling him to go back inside. He'd handle it, but all he did was toss in a handkerchief and say a prayer before leaving Jack to die alone. The bullet had blown off one of Jack's fingers. Fighting through the agony, he found a bag for his severed finger and retrieved a magazine with police cars that he'd saved. He showed it to one of the puppies, instructing it to take the finger and find the police. Later, the father killed himself, and the older brother went to prison. Jack survived but was paralyzed from the waist down, confined to a wheelchair for life. Years later, when the brother completed his sentence and walked out of prison, but he had no idea that dogs had been waiting for him all along.